Right, welcome, ladies and gents.
That was weird.
Welcome. I hope you're all well. We are live with episode number 71. No one knows why I'm laughing, but I actually inadvertently just exited out of this stream and
He yeeted himself. Bye.
So
Culture.
thank God
It's your
it was still loaded in there. I actually can't hear you, Culture.
What?
Some bizarre reason. Maybe my sound's a bit off there.
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, okay.
Johnny, can you hear me?
I have to put my headphones on.
Tommy.
Son of a bitch, it worked a second ago. We got a shit show of a show already.
Hello.
Dear, oh dear.
Houston, hello.
Hopefully this will work. Right, let me just power on through.
Hello, audience.
Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you're all well. Hopefully you're enjoying this. And hopefully I can hear Culture Casino now speak or forever hold your peace.
I will speak.
No, I still can't. Son of a bitch. I'm going to duck out and duck back in.
This is the best show ever. Welcome to your favorite podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We are off to a good start. I hope you can hear me. I hope. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me now? Good. Can you hear me now? Good. Hello, my friends. Hello. Little Neil Diamond for you. I see lots of folks out there. Maestro hears me. Does Mr. H hear me?
Hey, fine before it booted me out.
Hello.
Oh God! Well, at least you haven't got 5 minutes of my preamble this time, ladies and gents.
Well, actually, the preamble starts.
You've had a bit of at the start. Right, just as an FYI for those tuning in, go, what the hell's going on? We roll the intro, and obviously it's however it's like a minute long. And accidentally, because I've got this stupid mouse with these side buttons, I accidentally clicked one of the side buttons, and it's back page on a web page. So it booted me out of the stream, literally with like 2 seconds to go before the intro of the stream had was about to finish. And then I got in, and then it messed up all my audio, even though it worked before. Unbelievable.
I don't think we've ever started better, though. I mean, let's just be fair.
Come on now, don't be so rude. So yeah, I'm so sorry. A bit of a shit show to get started with, ladies and gents. Basically, welcome to your favorite podcast, episode number 71. Mistakes happen. It is what it is. I can't. I'm here. I'm only human. And unfortunately, I pressed a random button on my mouse.
It's a live show. It's a live
show. My web page. But we've got a pretty action-packed stream for you today. Your favorite podcast, of course. We've got a wide range of topics, from a new expose on Aquaman 2 being just an utter shit show to the Exorcist Excreter. Believer, obviously. I mean, it might as well be Excreter. It's a pile of excrement. All the way through to Robin Hood director calling me out. Thought we could have a good laugh at that. And some loads of stuff peppered in between as well. As I always do here on this sort of podcast, got to say this, your favorite podcast is fan funded. So it's funded by you guys, for you guys. We get heavy demonetization here on the show, with or without Tom, because of some of the topics we cover. And just the very openness, the sort of open way we discuss these things. It's unfortunate, but it is what happens. YouTube loves to censor us. So if you want to support the show, super chats are the way to do that, generally speaking, but you can also do super stickers. Super chats are a really good way to do it because you can join in on the conversation. I obviously do look at the chat as I'm sort of streaming and things, but super chats are the way to join in the conversation, as we are a live podcast. We're a show. So throw in a buck or two if you can, get your question and comment heard and discussed on the show. But even if you want to support the show without any monetary input, the best way to do that is simply liking the podcast, as well as sharing it out there on any social medias that you think people would be enjoying it on. And turning up very, very late here, and we're just going to expose him for being incredibly late, even though he was phone called, is Tom.
You called?
Yes.
Who did?
Culture.
Oh, missed phone call.
Oh!
I was running. I'm here. And
He was running, ladies and gents. The diet's going well for Tom.
Or I could put some light on the subject here. There's that better.
There we go. Right. Anyway,
there we go.
We've got a big podcast today, and obviously we've got our mainstays here on a Tuesday. We've got Culture, we've got Tom. We'll have Nick dropping in later on as well. You can find everyone's channel that regularly appears here on your favorite podcast down below in the description box. That out of the way, my epic preamble and an epic fuck up on starting the show as well. How are we doing, guys? How you doing, Tom? I've spoken to Culture already today. How are you?
I'm doing the best I can.
Where you been, mate?
Just trying to do things like paying bills, grocery shopping, all that kind of business today. Just rushing around. You know how it is.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah. It's like one of the only days of the week that until your show, I don't have anything necessarily going on unless Andre sends me a video. So I do try to take advantage if I can. Yeah.
Right. How are you, Culture? You all right, mate?
I'm fantastic. Are you kidding? I'm on my favorite podcast. It's my favorite podcast of
I thought it was everybody's favorite podcast.
It is everybody's favorite podcast, but I'm actually on my favorite.
A cod pass is what is that?
I'm on a cod pass.
Does that mean that somebody can touch your cod piece?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah. What is a cod pass?
Sound like a random play on cod piece, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Dear, oh dear. Right. Well, we do have our first piece of fan funding of the day, ladies and gents. So let's just get to this before we get started. So it's from Israel R. Heavy contributor here on the podcast. So thank you so much. And for $10, Israel R joins in the conversation and says, hello, everyone, on my favorite podcast. With the new Exorcist bombing so badly, could the second movie be pulled out of theatrical release to not allow for further embarrassment going forward? Well, that is a perfectly great question to actually get us started on our first topic, which is our general thoughts and review of Exorcist Excreter. Now, it's only myself and Tom that have seen this film, and we do have a slight difference of opinion. I'm aware of that. But I mean, let's answer that question first, Tom. Do you think that the second movie could be pulled out of theaters? Because personally, I don't think it's getting made. Oh, Tom's gone already.
It might. But here's the thing: the movie's actually not doing as bad as. It's only doing bad and flopping because they spent $400 million to get the rights to the franchise. They only spent $30 million on the movie. If that was all they had spent on this, then they'd actually be in a really good spot right now. This is actually a pretty good opening for an Exorcist movie, considering it's not really a franchise and we haven't had one in almost 20 years. Right? Like, so $30 million opening, and it was how much what's the altogether now Culture with the overseas?
Oh, it was not too bad. It was sitting at around in the 40s. It was okay as of yesterday.
45 on Monday.
Yeah. So
it'll probably come close to making its money back in theaters for the movie. For the franchise, no. See, that's the problem we have here is that Morgan Creek got $400 million for the rights from Blumhouse and Universal and Peacock.
Yeah.
So this is like some conglomerated thing. So it will be dropping on Peacock before you know it too, because my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nate, wasn't it originally going to drop on both Peacock and theaters simultaneously, and then they changed their mind?
I do think so. I'm not 100% certain, but I had heard that, but I can't remember. Probably much like you, something which you think you've heard or think you've seen, but I can't put my finger on where. And it may actually just be because they do that so often now that we're associating them with
Five Nights at Freddy's. I think they're doing the same thing, and Halloween they did the same thing. So,
but they're doing the same thing with Five Nights at Freddy's.
That's what I just said. Yeah, rightly. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
So no, like, and I mean, that's the thing is, I'm surprised unless it drops this next week because it was originally supposed to come out this week. But I looked it up and it said no, it's not going to be on Peacock until it's done with its run. So,
well, let me put it this way: it may have made $45 million in its first opening weekend, but as of this weekend coming, it will not make a penny more.
No, it's got the problem with Taylor Swift. Yeah,
exactly, and thus it's a huge bomb.
It has problems with that. Yeah, I mean, and I'm not trying to root for it or anything like that, but I mean, I'm not going to also say that a $30 million opening for this movie is bad. It's only bad just because they spent $400 million on the damn franchise when the movie clearly would have only costed them 30 million, 35 million to make, whatever anyway. So And I thought they already
Mm.
shot the sequel. So I'm confused on that too. I guess they hadn't shot it yet.
I don't think
Deceiver.
they did because it was in COVID times, I think, if I remember rightly. So yeah.
But it is already written. It's called Deceiver. We know that much. But
well,
we'll
it's
see if
supposed to
they
be a
stick with
trilogy.
that. Yeah, it was
It's
originally
supposed
going to be a
to be.
trilogy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, so you are right. $30 million, $45 million opening for an Exorcist movie is actually pretty decent, to be fair. Pretty good. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. You also have to adjust it for inflation as well. You know, those numbers previously adjust them for inflation. I don't know how they would look if you adjust it for inflation. I don't know if they would be comparable.
Compared to the original film, no. But compared to the other sequels, this is probably one of the... I'm willing to bet that it's performing better than any of the sequels have since part 2.
Oh, I would imagine that, absolutely. But they did spend $400 million on the franchise rights to make 3 movies. And
as I point out to people, they don't even get like the old movies with this. That's just it. I wouldn't be saying shit if they got the original 4 or 5 Exorcist movies, right? Then it makes sense because then you can throw out a box set. You can recoup some of your costs that way. No, yes. Warner Brothers still owns those. They just bought the rights, not the movies themselves. Because for those who don't know, Morgan Creek didn't even own the rights until the late 80s, 90s or whatever, because they produced Exorcist 3 and 4 through Warner Brothers, and Warner distributed them. But Warner Brothers produced the first 2 movies on their own. They owned the rights until Morgan Creek got involved, and now Morgan Creek owned the rights. They separated from Warner Brothers. Now they're out trying to reboot all their franchises, which all Morgan Creek has is Exorcist, Young Guns, Ace Ventura, Major League. That's about it. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Like...
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And most of these movies, they don't even own the original distribution rights to. That's the other problem, right? So they don't own the distribution rights to the first Young Guns, but I think they do the second one in the Ace Ventura movies. But that's about it. But sorry, that's just kind of a... Yeah, so it's kind of a good deal for Morgan Creek, bad deal for Comcast and Blumhouse.
Well, Universal and Blumhouse, isn't it? I mean, that's the thing, right? So it'd be different if they've written the second one for sure. They've not shot it as far as I'm aware. So is there a risk of them pulling out of theaters? There'd be no risk of them pulling out of a theater if they're going to make the movie. Make no mistake, Israel are. If they're going to make the movie, they are releasing it in theaters to recoup cash. Because making another Exorcist movie for another, I don't know, $30 million, they're not going to want to risk, no subscriber growth or, no potential income. They want to try and make some money from it, so they'll have to release it in theaters. But the reason why I think that they're just not going to bother at all is because of how this movie's done. The movie ends, and we'll talk about it in a minute, but the movie ends in a way that you can just leave it. You can just leave it and start fresh. And I think they'll just start fresh. I think that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if they do another one, and considering David Gordon Green's already calling into question his involvement, that kind of tells us that, the studio is probably going to go another direction. And I agree with you, Nate. I think they almost have to do 2 more movies just to try and recoup the $400 million. But don't make no mistake about it, they'll make the next one a hell of a lot cheaper. The next 2.
Oh, yeah.
They'll probably shoot 2. Yeah, they'll probably shoot 2 movies at once for like $30 million as opposed to just one. And they might not bring back anybody, but they might bring back Linda Blair. Spoilers, but we'll see. Sorry about that, guys. But like most people, I think, who gave a shit went to see it this weekend, to be honest with you. So
yeah. Well, there you go, Israel R. Chap. Hopefully that answered your question. But that does take us very, very nicely off to our first topic today, which is, of course,
your mother so smacks that smell.
Tom, let's just we don't have to go over and over and over this movie to death. As you said, people that cared went out and watched it opening weekend. It wasn't many people that cared because it hasn't absolutely
it's not really a franchise. Yeah,
exactly. But let's just give our thoughts for our adoring viewers here, so they can make their own mind up if they wish to go watch it. what did you think of the movie? Because I'm going to go hard on this, and you won't. Not as hard
Well,
anyway. So
I want to, man. I have issues with it. I have some major issues with it. But that's the problem.
Andre let me down yesterday, man.
I know. I can't understand what movie Andre saw. Like
Andre liked the film, by the way, guys.
He's giving the motherfucker a love letter. Pardon my French, but like I'm like, dude, you're being way too nice to this movie. Okay, because here's my basic description of it, and this is my short review, and I'll get it out of the way. The first movie is among my top favorite films of all time, so keep that in mind. That being said, I wanted to hate this movie with a passion going into it, and I walked out liking it more than I thought I would. Now, that being said, they are very audacious. They do try some things. I know some people feel like it's not very original. In fact, Chris Gore would say it's the most unoriginal film in the series or whatever, blah, blah, blah. That being said, I also pointed out that, look, I don't watch a lot of these Exorcist haunting ripoff movies. So in that respect, and I agree with, like, I think Red Letter Media said the same thing. This is probably better than most of the Exorcist ripoffs. So like compared to those kind of movies, it's good. But it's almost unfair to try and compare it to the original film. So what I'm doing, in my own opinion, and let's just so keep that in mind, is I'm comparing it more to the sequels. Okay. So as far as the sequels go, this is not that bad. But that being said, and you can rip into it deeper than I will, it does have some problems. Most of all being modern day bullshit creeping in and causing, what could have been probably a decent, like, reintroduction to the Exorcist franchise into a boring, muddy mess. Now I didn't find it as boring as you did, but I'm not going to say it wasn't, because you're right. There is no real scares in the movie. Let's be real here. You're making a sequel to what is most considered the scariest film of all time. And there isn't really any fear in it outside of, I will give him credit. And this is the thing I point out to most people about the first film too, is that the first film isn't so much scary because the girl's head's spinning around and she's spitting pea soup. It's scary because Chris McNeil has no idea what's wrong with her child and nobody can tell her. And as a parent, that is the scariest fucking thing you can hear, because it's worse than having, knowing that maybe your child's going to die. At least then and you can prepare for it. In the case where she's at, not only does she not know what's going on with her child, all these doctors, 80 of them or whatever it does, she even says, she's like 80 fucking doctors and not one of you can tell me what's wrong with my daughter. And that's the scariest thing any person can have, especially when they're turning around and telling you, well, maybe you want to try voodoo or an exorcism. Like, what are you going to do? Like, okay. Like, you're supposed to be the authorities here. So like that part of the film, I thought they captured very well, not so much with the same beats as the first film, but with the girls disappearing for 3 days. As a parent, that is a scary fucking thought, right? Like, your kid just disappears. Nobody knows nothing. Can't find a trace of them, or you find just little traces of, but not enough to determine if it's, something to be extremely worried about, or if they're just fucking around or whatever. So that aspect of the film, I thought they handled very well. Having 2 kids possessed instead of 1, I thought was, a clever twist. And I thought the ending, the whole thing with, making the choice and all that kind of stuff, I thought was kind of clever. But other than that, the inserting of the would-be nun, Ellen Bernstein kind of feeling out of place through most of the movie. Other than that, I can't really give the movie much praise. I didn't like how they made the white family more rednecky and kind of the bad guys at the end of the movie in the way. I did like the male lead. I thought he was a good father figure in the film. And if anything, he's probably the best part of the movie. I thought the girls did fine in the acting. I know some people don't think that the one girl did very good, or neither of them did. I think they did fine, considering what they had to do. There's some scenes that are kind of dumb that I would have just left out, like the masturbation scene I would have left out, because it's just pointless. And I don't even think the actors knew what they were doing. And you can tell by the way it's shot. But other than that, just the patriarchy line and the whole idea of having to have multiple religions involved really kind of turned me off from the whole thing, from what could have been, at least in my opinion, a decent sequel.
But you didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it altogether, but I didn't love it at all either. It's mediocre at best. That's the thing. It's so middling.
How would you rate it out of 10?
5, 5.5, 6 tops. Like, I can't recommend somebody go see it in the theater, but I could recommend that you won't be disappointed if you watch it at home, just chilling with your friends. Right. It's not a beer and pizza movie, definitely, but it's like a movie you watch with like your girlfriend or your wife, or the girls get together. Maybe I see women enjoying this movie more than men at the end of the day. I think there's more here for women to get into than guys. So I don't know.
Well, I fucking hated it, ladies and
I know
gents.
you
It was
did.
a god awful film. I would not recommend anyone watch it. I would not recommend anyone watch it at home. I would not recommend you pay for it. I would not recommend you watch it even if you don't pay for it. It is a terrible movie on so many levels. It is awful. It is awful. I thought the child actors suck. You are right that the father is a great actor, and how they portrayed him being a father and being protective, and the sort of logical in-universe steps that you would take throughout your life if tragedy had befallen you to be overprotective of your daughter would absolutely be the case. And I liked all of that. But the film was so fucking boring, I couldn't give a shit. Same as the fact that, you're saying, oh, the scariest thing that would happen to you, if you're a parent, you would, your child goes missing. I agree. And I think that they did that really well, actually. I think that the sort of aggression and sort of anger and,
Yeah, the two parents blaming each other and all that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
two parents. I thought that was really well done, but I still couldn't give a shit because this movie's so fucking terrible.
Yeah, that's fair. I can
Like,
understand.
genuinely, it was so boring and so crap that, yeah, I can acknowledge that they did it well, but I just simply don't care. And I couldn't care because it's terrible on so many levels, ladies and gents, on so many levels. The children's performances were utterly atrocious. The Avengers exorcism team up at the end, I didn't misspeak. That's true. That's part of it. Was utterly atrocious. That was awful. The like piss colored gas that came out as well. That was awful. Just terrible on many levels. Awful film. No idea who wrote it. No idea who wrote that stupid line about the patriarchy. I did a video on it. So if you haven't seen it, Olaf will undoubtedly link it in the chat right now. But I did a video where I showed it's a scene from the movie where Chris McNeil is with the father of one of the girls that's got a demon in her, and she goes, "Well, I wasn't actually in the room with the exorcism. I didn't see it." And he goes, "Why not?" "Well, you want to know my opinion?" She says, "It's because I wasn't a member of the damn patriarchy." No, love, you stupid bitch. It's because your daughter had an actual demon in her, and those two people that exorcised that demon died. Maybe that was why, but no, patriarchy. And then later in the film, she's proven completely. It's almost like a comedy sketch because she says about the patriarchy, and there'll be a supercut when this film drops where someone will go line about the patriarchy. Then later in the film, she confronts one of these new girls with a demon in her, and she gets her eyes stabbed out. Well, there you go. I mean, that's why
I kind
you
of
weren't
laughed
allowed
at
in.
that part. I'm like, you almost deserve that.
She did deserve it.
Her hubris,
and
it's not her fault as an actress. It's the fault of the writing, right? Like you have,
yeah. I'm saying in universe, she deserves to be stabbed in the eye.
And what other bothered me too was the line that he keys in on in the novel that she wrote, or the account that she wrote. She wasn't even there for. That's what really bothered me. It stuck out to me. It was like, because he points it in because she reads and then "help me" formed on her stomach or whatever. And then he freaks out and he looks at the picture and "help me" is written on his daughter's side, right? And that's the connection he figures out. And I'm like, bitch, wasn't even in the room, because in that movie, that is the scene where Sharon, the nanny, calls up Father Karras and says, "I want you to see this, but I don't want Chris to know." And she goes into the bedroom with him, opens up the bottom of her a nightgown top, or whatever you call it, the pajama top, and on her stomach writes "help," the words "help me" form. So as far as we know, Chris was never even told about that, unless Sharon told her at some point. And that's another thing is like, even though Sharon technically died in the second Exorcist movie, if they're undoing all this stuff, why wasn't Sharon that character that's like, I've seen this before, and not that stupid would-be nun nurse? I hate that fucking character. That chick is the worst fucking actress in the movie. And I'm going like, this bitch better be somebody, because I IMDb'd her after the movie. I'm like,
literally
nothing. No one. I'm like, why is she here? Like, why did they choose this actress?
Probably the catering crew. They're just like, shit, we need to get someone on quickly.
Well, it's because they needed and that's the thing is, if you're going to do this the way they did it, you get a decent actress that's somebody from the past that you know and you connect
They
with.
can't afford it, mate.
I know, obviously.
400 million in the hole.
Well, she
That's
is one of the worst
production
characters because she's the part that, for me, and this is where I'll agree with you wholeheartedly, Mr. H, and this is where I'll warn some people about the movie. If you're somebody who's sensitive to subjects that have to do with ending pregnancies, don't watch this movie.
Yeah.
This movie is predicated on that, and it almost tries to make the argument that God made that happen or had her do one so that she could be there that night.
Yeah,
and it is the most convoluted bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah,
to me, the biggest sin is what they do to the Catholic Church and how they try to portray everything involved with it. It just,
yeah. So you're actually right, and abortion in the States is obviously a big hot topic at the moment. So I actually hadn't picked up on that quite as much as what I think you probably would have done. You're a bit primed for it,
and it ties in with the beginning too.
Yeah. So basically, what you're referring to, Tom, we can talk spoilers about this. No one cares about this film. We're not going to lose anyone watching this. No one cares about.
I haven't seen anybody bitch yet, so you're probably right.
No one cares. There's this nurse that is in the hospital looking after one of the daughters that has the demon, is possessed, and she basically says how she was primed to be a nun or something like that.
The night before she went to be confirmed or whatever, I don't remember the exact term, but she was about to go take her vows or whatever, or she did take her one vows, but she was about to become a full-fledged. She was a sister, but she was become a full-fledged nun. I can't remember exactly how it works. But she freaked out, went and fucked some dude, got pregnant, ended the pregnancy, and then became a nurse. And she makes the argument that all happened. God made that happen so she could be here tonight for these girls, so she could represent Jesus, because the Catholic Church wouldn't allow the Catholic priest to perform the exorcism.
Yeah, so by proxy, what she's saying is that it was God's plan and his will for her to not be a nun, but also have, abort her fetus and then become a nurse to then do this. It's just nonsense. The whole film is garbage, and perhaps most egregious out of everything, because you can disagree about this, that, or you could say, well, that doesn't quite sound so bad. Out of everything, and it is the most egregious thing, is it's quite simply not scary. There is no one single scary scene in it whatsoever. And this being a sequel to what is highly regarded as one of the most scariest films of all time, that's just awful. You can't. There's nothing. There's nothing at all. So there you go. Terrible film. There's our review, ladies and gents.
And I wish it was a spicier conversation, but I can't really argue with any of your points, right? Like, it's more of a personal choice. No, I know, but I mean, it's like I don't feel passionate about enough to go, no, you're wrong. It's a decent film, or at least it's no. Like, no, I'm not even gonna. No, it's not worth it, because it's not. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying that I didn't feel like I wasted 2 hours of my life like I did. That's the other least good thing about it. It's only like an hour and 40 minutes. So like it's not as long as most movies. I know you didn't like it. So I mean, to me, it's like I didn't waste most of my life.
Tom says it's only an hour and 40 minutes. It felt like a 3-hour movie, guys.
I didn't feel that way, but that's fair. I can't argue with that. I mean, you're right. Nothing really happens of real consequence till the end of the film, really.
Yeah, it's so bad. I can't recommend it, ladies and gents. So there you go. There is our review. So moving on. Ladies and gents, I was meant to say this at the start, but me being booted out of the stream sort of messed that up. Other podcasts you probably watched, other streams you probably watched, people are addressing the situation in the wider world right now. I don't plan to address any of this. I'm not interested in addressing any of this. I'd like this podcast to be a moment for escape for everyone. Obviously, it's awful. It's atrocious. It's crap. We all don't need to say it, obviously. But that is me addressing it. I'm not addressing it any further than that. I'm not. This is a place for some escapism. We'll bitch about real world subjects and things, but this is where we escape from the more heavy situations in the real world. Okay, there you go. I meant to say it at the start, but my mouse screwed me, so I couldn't. unfortunately. But there we go. Anyway,
Where do you get a mouse that'll do that? Because I've never seen
this
a
is a
mouse.
Razer mouse. This is a Razer one.
No. I've just never heard of a mouse being able to screw you. So.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Oh, well, sorry. I don't know what to say about that. So it's my special mouse. Anyway, ladies and gents, so I want to move on now to, well, a very interesting topic, I think, personally. We've covered it previously before, and it all went away. It all went away, but it's back with a vengeance for Disney. And that's it. Yeah, Peltz. Nelson Peltz. He's back, isn't he, ladies and gents? Culture, you've been very quiet. I'm going to give you the floor on this. Do you want to explain to everyone what the hell is going on?
Okay, so Nelson Peltz a few months ago, well, about 8 or 9 months ago, kind of went on the warpath with Disney and bought a bunch of shares because he didn't like the direction of the company, and he did have some shares invested. His Trian Management Group they're financially motivated, is the nicest way to say it. And he was like, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to acquire some shares, and I'm going to request a directorship, not even a board seat, although I'd like one. But I need the ability to see what you're doing and why you're making these decisions, because they're not profitable. They're not making the shareholders any money." And he's right. They weren't. All the decisions were very poor. They were based strictly on, the pursuit of social justice and things like that, rather than profitability, which means that they weren't doing what is called their fiduciary duty, which is delivering the utmost in profits and so on and so forth to their investors. So they get into a little shouting match. Eventually, Iger relents, and he makes some disparaging comments about Peltz, which we'll set aside for the moment. But he relents and says, "You know what? I'm going to give you the things you're asking for. We're going to definitely give you your dividend at the end of the year. Well, it could be a half a cent. Who knows? But we're going to do all these things. We're going to make all these changes." Well, Iger delivered nothing but lip service. And here we are just a few months later, and Peltz is like, "Look, the company is weak. The stock is crashing. I'm going to buy $2.5 billion worth of stock." And that's what he did. And so he's now in either position 5 or position 6 as far as the largest individual shareholder of this corporation, just under all the big boys like State Street, BlackRock, and Vanguard. Vanguard's actually number 1 right now, and they switched places with BlackRock not that long ago. But you also have, I think, Blackstone in there as well. But anyway, he ends up being number 5 or 6. Now, if he partners up and he buddies up with a couple other of his billionaire friends, and he actually pursues individual shareholders' proxies, it's quite possible we could have a full-fledged proxy war that is essentially set to remake Disney, because they will acquire several board seats. He's looking right now with his investment to getting 2 or 3 board seats because of his vast ownership, and remove the hand-picked Iger lackeys that are currently operating the company at the board level. And these lackeys include forced labor lovers like the guy that came over from Nike, who used to run Nike as the CEO. So so Disney's already got a great track record when it comes to China and forced labor situations. It's very, very interesting. So Peltz is back. He's causing problems. Take it away, Mr. H.
Well, you said a hell of a lot. Nice rundown. I think what you also missed was you did miss one thing. It's the Ike Perlmutter situation.
Oh,
so it was
yeah.
Ike Perlmutter that helped Peltz, basically.
And he still has those shares. He still has those shares.
He has. Was it like 10 billion or something like that? It's a crazy high number.
You'd have to ask Tom, but Ike's not going away. Ike's a player. We talked about this way back when. I'm like, you pissed off the wrong guy. I think he has like 4 billion in stock, but
okay, yeah, maybe. But basically, what happened was when Nelson Peltz was doing this situation, it was Ike Perlmutter that was part of it.
Yeah.
And then once Bob Iger had agreed, no, sorry, okay, we'll turn things around, Peltz. Please stop. We'll turn things around. He relinquished his proxy war, and then Bob Iger immediately turned around and fired Ike Perlmutter, literally like a week later or something like that, which is crazy. I think we said at the time that's not smart. That's really not smart, because now you do have 2 people that can team up, even just in them, Peltz and Perlmutter. You've got one person that believes in turning Disney around with a serious amount of stock. And then you have the activist investor Nelson Peltz with a pretty serious amount of stock as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that was the only slight thing that you missed, unless there's
That's
anything
fine.
to sort of add on to that I got wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I did a video on this and I said this could absolutely mean the end for Bob Iger. At the very least, it means the end for a fully hand-picked board that won't argue with him. And that alone will cause a severe amount of issues. But it's also how public all of this is. The stock rose, and I would have loved to have got Mikey on board for this, Mexican Iron Man Mike, because the stock rose, and we did a bit with Mike the other day when it was crashing, and immediately this comes out and it's rising, and that speaks volumes because the market has responded to Peltz. I was going to say Perlmutter, but to Peltz coming back on board with massive positivity. Anything to do with Bob Iger and the previous regime tanks stock, absolutely tanks it. Anything that remotely signifies a change of the status quo at Disney raises the stock. And that's the market speaking. And that alone should indicate to anyone with any brains where Disney should be going. It is removing the status quo at Disney at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's no other conclusion that you can draw. I also did a video on it. I mean, I think it's going to be for our sphere, this is going to be something that plays out for weeks. We're all going to be participating in it because it's the biggest possible news we can have right now. I mean, even Tom is gaining interest in this right now.
Well, and this comes at a time where Disney is incredibly weak because they have to buy Hulu.
Oh, they're so weak. Stop it, Tom. Stop it. I'm gonna call him right now. He's being mean.
It's true though. Because again, this comes at a time when they're going to be buying Hulu, so they're up Schitt's Creek there alone, massively detriment there.
Oh,
somebody asked me the other day what I do. I say I talk about the everlasting doom of Disney.
Yeah, I do that too
on a daily basis. That's all I do.
Well, what do you think about this then, Tom?
Look, Nelson Peltz is a money man. I agree with everything you guys have just said. Perlmutter was a big part of why Marvel was successful. Love him or hate him. Think what you will about him or say what you will about him. Bob has to learn that it's not about your friends and those who are going to do what you want them to do. You need some people in there who are going to call you out sometimes or say, well, that's not going to work, or we're spending too much money, or we need money, or you need to start making money, or I liked it when we had cocaine and hookers around all the time. Let's get back to that, please. You know, like, yeah, I mean, it's just, it makes sense at this point when Disney is making absolutely no sense, not even 10 cents at this point. I mean, their stock is tanking constantly. Hulu stock, I think, is holding pretty solid or going up, is it not, Culture? And I think they have to pay compared to whatever the stock is at that time. Well, so the more their stock goes down and the more Hulu stays the same or goes up, it's worse for them.
Yeah,
right?
Comparative value is a real problem for them right now. So, yeah, and again, I mean, they did it to themselves, and they were artificially like trying to suppress the value of Hulu all along, which is something most people weren't paying attention to because they knew that they were going to, after they acquired Fox, they were going to have to buy it. So instead of taking that product international and expanding it, they pushed out Disney Plus instead, when Hulu would have been a much better fit internationally because it would have been.
They bought Hotstar, didn't they?
Yeah, that Hotstar thing was a hot mess.
Which now they're closing down the India part of it or whatever.
Yeah, it came
selling
with,
it.
Yeah, that came with Fox, and they have a buyer in the wings in India.
Okay, I didn't know that came with Fox. I thought they bought it. My bad.
Yeah, and so it's all just a mess. I mean, in India, it's a hot mess, and like I said, you're going forward. You're going forward into probably the worst possible time for Disney when they are absolutely at their weakest. I think Tom pointed that out yesterday. I don't think I've ever seen Disney this weak. It had to have been the 1980s. It had to have been. It had to have been when Roy O made a charge at the board and got a bunch of stockholders to rally around him in much the same way I think Peltz is going to do, and say, you know what,
we're not gonna take it.
You're out of here.
No, we ain't gonna take it.
Yeah. Yeah, I foresee this being quite ugly in terms of the business aspect of things.
Mm.
Long term, it's better for the company if they do end up with obviously Iger saying bye-bye. But there's a lot of more arguable things out there.
I'm assuming you guys have seen The Godfather, right?
Oh yeah.
What's the one thing that comes between the the family and legitimate business? Crime, right? That's the only difference. You fuck with people's money, especially people that like that, they are not going to sit around and just let it happen. Nelson Peltz is a goddamn gangster. He's going to come in here and he's going to tell you what for. He's going to put some people in some cement shoes figuratively and get rid of them. And as you said, I think you put it the most succinctly in the whole point, Nate, is the biggest point here is he's no longer going to have a bunch of yes men on the board all the damn time. That is the problem we've had for years. And that is why Chapek was never allowed to really do what he could at least attempt to do, try to get the company back into shape.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're completely right, because Chapek had that exactly the same board, and they all agreed as well that Iger could stay on.
They were all secretly listening to Iger anyway and undermining Chapek at every turn, and yeah.
Absolute jokers. So this is perhaps one of the best things to happen to Disney at one of the worst possible times for Disney.
Yeah.
Not for us, but it's the best thing to happen for Disney as a brand. Unequivocally, I think. And it'll be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
I do wonder whether there's another play, here, maybe. I mean, Nelson Peltz has been buying a bunch of stock when it's been low, obviously. Now he's raised that stock price. Maybe he'll be
has enough, because there's only he's like the fourth person as far as having the most investment.
He's in 5th or 6th place right now.
It would only take him to get a few of the other people above him, and they might be able to do some kind of corporate takeover.
Well, if he buddies up with Peter Thiel and
what about George Lucas and Apple?
Apple isn't going to want any piece of that. It would cause a nightmare for them, I think. But what you could see, the Oracle guy Ellison and his kid who owns Skydance.
I know the company. I kind of know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So his dad owns Oracle and he owns Skydance. I think if he said, "Dad, let's go and get Disney,"
if they got the money, it's not worth that much right now.
Yeah, these are guys that are.
That's what I'm saying. I would say roughly. Well, how much? Okay, here's where we look at this. How much was Fox's stock worth? Does anybody know? If you can look this up, when Disney bought it,
it was a lot of money.
Because that's where I think is we're going to find out what the rough guesstimate would be on this. And my guess is their stock was probably in the somewhere at least over $80 a stock in stock.
71.3 billion it was purchased for.
That was what it was purchased for, but I'm wondering how much the stock was. If it was somewhere between 60 or $70 a share, or if it was more.
God, I don't know.
Because if that's the case, Disney could be looking at getting bought up for like $80 billion, like only $10 billion.
$38 per share.
Wow. So they shouldn't have paid more than 30. See, here's what I'm getting at. They shouldn't have paid more than $38 billion for Fox. Wow. The way I look at it is that you kind of go by that and then you extrapolate that to $1 billion, right? So to me right now, Disney is worth about $80 billion. Think about that. 2 years ago, they were worth probably closer to $200 billion.
That's higher, closer to
higher than that, actually.
Yeah, right.
And I'm being conservative as fuck here.
They were at 330 billion about 2 years ago, and now they're only worth 155.
They ain't gonna get that. No fucking way. And the lower their stock goes, it'll be less.
Well, the problem is that the stock has rallied on this news. It also rallied on the news, and this is something we don't probably have yet, Nate, is it also rallied on the fact that Iger, and Tom, I just want to say that Iger came out and said specifically that that he was tired and that he was overwhelmed and he was overworked. This has been.
When did he say that?
This was reported today. I'm desperately searching for this article right now. So, but I'm flabbergasted. Yeah, I mean, right now, I don't know, Tom. They paid over twice what Fox was worth, right? I mean,
That's what I was getting at, basically. Yeah. Pretty close to it. I wouldn't say twice. Well, yeah, probably close to twice.
Yeah.
Because if their stock was about $38 million or $38 a share, if they would have sold for about 40 billion, that's, you know, like I said, close to like looking at, okay, so that's a dollar for dollar kind of thing. Like in this case, though, like you said, because of Disney's a different animal because they got the parks and shit. That's the other thing too.
Different business structure.
So you got to keep that into consideration as well. So yeah, at the end of the day, I could see, but that's the thing. A hostile takeover is different than a sale.
Yeah, and and again, I mean, I see a proxy war, and then eventually a board thing. So, you know, but there's multiple sources for the story.
And this is where like Mikey or Andre would be kind of
useful. This would be great to have one of the
especially Andre, because he can understand a little bit more about
finance guys
how the corporate takeover kind of shit probably would work. But yeah, because we haven't had a major corporate takeover like that in how many years now?
Oh my gosh, it was, I would say the late 90s, early 2000s. It's been a long time. I can't recall one that's happened anytime in the last 15, 20 years. It may have, I just don't recall. And I'm getting older. Let's just be honest. I'm getting old. Very, very old.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think that about wraps it up for that topic.
Well, I did grab that article, by the way. If you want to pop. Okay.
I know.
Okay.
I wrapped it up for a reason. We'll get to it in a minute.
All right.
I'm trying to separate them.
He knows what he's doing.
God damn it. Anyway, we do have some. So, just as an FYI, ladies and gents, please do hit that thumbs up button. We got 430 odd people here, but we don't even have 200 likes. So please do smash that thumbs up button. That'd be absolutely fantastic. It's not for the show's benefit itself, because this show, the video itself, gets unlisted, but it's to hopefully get YouTube to notify you that your favorite podcast is running and is live. So hit the thumbs up button. Also, this show is funded by you guys, for you guys. Heavy demonetization here. Every show gets demonetized, basically. So super chats are the way to support the show and keep it going week on, week out. So please do chuck in super chats. I'm trying to get away to basically have because I think it's Streamlabs or something like that can have the super chats appear randomly and also activate specific ones as well. So I'm trying to look into that so you guys can, you know, put some certain amount in and actually trigger like a thing on the screen. So it's a work in progress, but I digress. Super chats, let's get to them. So Facutino, how do I say that? How would you say that? Someone.
Fasciutino.
Nah, it's not it, is it?
Facutino. Factiuno. Factiuno.
Anyway.
Oh, fuck you know.
Fuck do you know?
Oh, fuck do you know?
Yeah.
For $4.99 says Tom, which is the better Exorcist, Believer or Exorcist of Emily Rose?
I think I watched the Emily Rose one. Here's the thing. I'm not a fan of, like, the only Exorcist type movies or possession movies I like are The Exorcist. The only like zombie movies I like are usually like Romero movies. I'm not a big fan of like genre films so much. I think that one's the one that's kind of loosely based on a true story, so I think I did watch it. And I think at the time it came out, I thought like, wow, I'm surprised they didn't just try to make this attached to the Exorcist movies in some way, but I think it's a totally different company. That's probably why. But no, I don't think it was that bad from my recollection, but I have not seen it since it came out because I'm not a big fan of those. So which is better,
Believer or Emily Rose?
Oh, probably Emily Rose. Sorry, that's what I thought I was saying there.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Fuck you, Tino. Mr. Tickle Junks for $5 says, have to love that a man trying to make money is labeled an activist investor because he wants a return on his investments. Like an investor
that's the term they used in that one article. That he's an activist investor. It's like, well, if he's an activist investor, then what the hell is everybody else in the company?
Well, no, I'll tell you what's so funny. What is absolutely there's some irony to that statement, isn't it? They claim Nelson Peltz is an activist investor for wanting to make money, typically like investors do. But all the other investors that have been happily losing money have actually been essentially activists for the agenda. BlackRock, Vanguard. There's something comical about that, isn't there? But this chap that comes along like a normal investor,
Yeah,
wanting
guy
to
who
make
just wants to make money. Yeah,
he's an activist investor.
well, it's because he's a
right?
capitalist.
Yeah, sure.
That's a problem.
Fucking sure. Ridiculous. Pilgram Media for $2 says, how much longer to block ads on YouTube? What for? Yeah. So I want to cover this briefly, just as an FYI, ladies and gents. So obviously, there's YouTube is removing the ad block function. Loads of people really hate it. I get it. It's not cool. For us, this is actually how we make money. So I highly doubt you'll actually hear anyone that is a YouTuber complaining about the ad block function being removed. I get it's frustrating for you guys, but your favorite YouTubers don't. That's how they make their money. Like, these super chats don't cover anything realistically. They keep this show going, but they don't cover anything else. And I know that that's really unfortunate to hear. I know that will get a few people's backs up, and it's not all about money. But when you're spending hours of your life on something, you do have to be compensated for that to keep that going, to not put your time, which has a value, an inherent value, elsewhere where you can get a kickback from it, basically. And YouTube is really bad at the moment. What they're doing at the moment with demonetization, but also hiding channels, not notifying people of videos, it's really bad. Like, you're talking about anywhere between a 50 to 40% drop in your earnings, which can cripple some people. So I don't want to labor too much on it, but when I say that, these super chat functions, keep the show running and help out YouTube creators a lot, they really do, guys. Like, I can't stress that enough. And it's why I'm so floored when people drop, $50, $100, those kind of things, because it's quite overwhelming and it's so flattering and humbling. And I'm also thinking, wow, that really does actually help out. So you honestly, if any YouTuber goes, yeah, fuck YouTube for removing the ad block, they're lying to you. I can say that unequivocally. They're going to be lying to you, because that's how they make their money. So don't believe them, is what I would say. You'll always get straight up honesty here, as much as sometimes it's, puts people's backs up. But you guys will probably attest that that's all true, I'm sure, won't you?
I think it's a necessary evil. And to be fair, if you are following a creator that you enjoy, some of the ads you might actually appreciate. I pay for premium, so I don't see ads, but the creators get a chunk of that premium cash. So that's, if there's 1,000 of you that have premium and you're watching your favorite creators, they're getting a piece of that as well, just as if they were getting a piece of the ad revenue. So,
yeah, that is true. Tom, back me up, my dude.
It's true.
Tomisms to this conversation.
It's so true. I trued all over it.
I like turtles.
Yeah.
So true.
I missed that.
Funny how it seems.
Anyway.
Okay.
Oh dear. Right. Well, ladies and gents, let's shuffle on, because Disney CEO Bob Iger feels overwhelmed and exhausted during the company slump report. Now, you've only just sent this to me, but do you want to break this down? What is this?
Well, apparently, Bob's feeling like he shouldn't have taken the gig. I think you should just read the article because it's brilliantly written. It's not too long.
All right. Well, Walt Disney Company CEO Bob Iger has reportedly been left overwhelmed and exhausted by the challenge of righting the ship at the Mouse House, whose tanking stock has spurred activist investor Nelson Peltz to further boost his stake in the firm. Obviously, we just covered that. People in Iger's inner circle told Bloomberg News that the CEO, who recently returned to helm the company with great fanfare, that's actually what rose the stock, hilariously, and then he tanked it after the disastrous tenure of his handpicked successor, Bob Chapek, who was never in charge. We know that now. And it annoys me that no article recognizes that. It really does annoy me. Has often joked to confidants, why did I come back? Peltz, who called off his proxy fight with Disney in February after Iger committed to a $5.5 billion cost-cutting spree, which included laying off 7,000 employees, has lost confidence in the CEO's ability to turn the company's fortunes around, according to the Wall Street Journal. In May, after Disney reported poor second quarter earning results, which stem mostly from its money-losing streaming division, we've said here many times Disney Plus has never made money. It does not make money. Iger and Peltz spoke by telephone. That'd be weird if they spoke by television. According to the Journal, during the conversation, Iger reportedly sought to reassure Peltz that Disney was on the right footing despite investor sentiment. So that's hilarious. But Peltz and his team at Trian Fund Management decided to boost his stake in Disney from 6.4 million shares to 30 million shares as the company's stock continued to decline over the summer. That makes Trian, which has over 8.5 billion.
Is that their real name? Try and fund it.
Wow. Oh, that's funny. Try and fund it. Yeah. They've got 8.5 billion under management, one of Disney's largest investors with a stake valued at $2.5 billion, and sets Peltz up to finally get the board seats he's been vying for since early this year. So in March of 2021, Disney stock reached an all-time high with $191 share. So again, ladies and gentlemen, when we say that they're tanking, they really are tanking. March of 2021, 2 years ago, they had $191 per share. They were under $80 per share last week, and it's only because of Nelson Peltz that they have stayed above $80 per share. So that says something, right? That says something. So since then, however, Disney's stock price has been down below more than 50%. They say it was trading at $84.50 a share as of Tuesday morning, only because of Nelson Peltz. Last Wednesday, Disney stock closed at $78 a share, its lowest level in more than 9 years. So Trian, which Peltz co-founded in 2005, thinks Disney's shares are significantly undervalued, according to the Journal, and has been putting pressure on Iger, who signed an extension to remain at the helm of the House of Mouse through to 2026, technically 2032, if I remember rightly, to reverse Disney's stock decline. Iger, meanwhile, has been taking steps to increase the company's profits, including jacking up the price of Disney Plus and also password sharing. They're going to clamp down on that. Good luck. No one's going to keep there then, are they really? So Iger is reportedly looking to unload Disney's television assets, including ESPN, all sports empire that has seen its audience reach decline in an era of fragmented internet and media. So he's tired, he's exhausted, he's overwhelmed. I would be too if I came back to this absolute shit show. Perfect time for a hostile takeover, don't you think?
I'm with you. I mean, I wanted this to happen last year. I think if it happened last year, everything would be in a little bit different situation. I think that it was inevitable. Bob never should have come back. He's all he's done is destroy his legacy. When he left abruptly. He did so because he saw the writing on the wall with the global crisis and everything else that was going to fall behind him. He was one of the many hundreds of CEOs that left their posts in 2018 and 2019. And we saw a massive executive leadership exodus that happened during that period of time. But that's a broader conversation. To return to Disney, I would say that it's overdue. His return really only further illustrated that the infrastructure that he established, the leadership that he put in place, had gone beyond what anybody could control, as far as leaning them into performance rather than into politics. And the politics are the things they're paying for, and everybody in the world can deny that, but that is exactly what's killing the company right now.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, I did a report earlier this week, from that Daily Wire report, which had some polling on it, which indicated, and it's specific. Daily Wire is important in reference to this conversation because it's very specifically targeted to the sort of favorability of Disney with conservatives in the US demographic. So that's why Daily Wire is the reference point before everyone gets all weird and uppity. And it's staggeringly bad. And, I made a video on it and I said, well, look, let's just, say it's 50-50 split Democrat Republican across, America. Because a lot of people, just as an FYI, I'm aware it may not be that. And a lot of people cite actual documentation and actual data. It's important to note many people don't actually openly admit their political leanings, especially in this day and age when anything slightly right of center or even slightly right of left is deemed alt-right and right-wing and is a buzzword for, as being a racist bigot, etc. So people are very reluctant to admit their political leanings in this day and age. But, if you were going to split, the country down the middle 50-50, it's like 60% of people are incredibly unfavorable towards Disney at this point in time. They just hate it, across that side of the aisle, which is not what you want, because they are the ones with money. They are the ones with kids, because, ladies and gents, by and large, massive amounts of incredibly left-leaning Democratic supporting voters won't have children, because that's that demographic. They are not interested in wholesome family values by and large. And so Disney's pissed off their actual target market, which is the family. Moronic. Absolutely moronic.
Well, and again, and
possibly do for your family-based business.
well,
And
yeah,
also they're the ones with money, because they're not, because they buy into capitalism, i.e. they have to work hard for their money. So they go out and work hard. Whereas left-leaning people, Democrat-supporting people, generally speaking, by and large, want money to be grown on trees.
There's that, and then there's the fact that Disney has been stepping away from their family brand, and stepping away is not the right description. Sprinting away from their family brand because they just dove into gambling with a vengeance, with a zest. They partnering up with Penn Entertainment, and they've been exploring this under Iger for almost 12 years now. How do I know that? Because they were running surveys for their more well-to-do patrons, sending them out via email or in participatory surveys at theme parks to see how people felt about gambling and if Disney actually put a foot in gambling. And for the very longest time, it was not something that they were told by the general public that it was a good idea to dip their foot into. And yet here they are sprinting just absolutely towards it and well away from families. And they've done that at every turn since 2013. And it really accelerated starting 2015. So it is what it is. But
yeah, absolutely absurd. Tom, you stayed awfully quiet, chap. You got anything to jump in on this with?
No, I just agree with you guys. I mean, you're hitting all the main points that I would say already. That's kind of the problem. I
bet you, Tom, if you were on camera, we'd see quite a lot of you tinkering away on your computer on other things. I bet you I'm wrong.
That happens. Yes.
You don't want to actually see what he's tinkering with. I don't think.
No, that backdrop projector. There was something else being projected on that screen.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
Dear, oh dear.
And
anyway.
You know what? Mr. Tickle Trunk is right. It isn't the liberals; it's the leftists. That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. This is true. Yeah. Right, ladies and gents, we've got some super chats to get to, so we're going to get to them now. If you like your favorite podcast, which of course you do because it is your favorite podcast, we are heavily demonetized here on the show. So super chats are the way to keep the show going, keep the lights on, help fund the show, chuck in a buck or two, whatever you can afford, and join in the conversation. So Richard Curtis for £10 says, should I subscribe to Disney Plus? Nah, I'll just send some money your way instead.
Thank you. That's almost like the full price. That's the full boat of a month of Disney Plus. So thank you.
Thanks very much, chap. And actually, Richard Curtis has been a member for 24 months. Thank you so much, buddy. Do appreciate that. Olaf Van Es, moderator here on the channel, does a fantastic job for €2. Says 3 months Disney Plus for €2. Is it?
Oh, that's right. They ran a sale.
Send it here.
That's right. They ran a sale. They did it. They were they were losing subscribers left and right, bro. And look, in the deal that they did with Charter Spectrum, that actually gave them a bunch of invisible subscribers. People that don't know they're subscribed to Disney Plus now have Disney Plus available. It's like they're fudging numbers left and right, but their ARPU, the average revenue per user, is going to go. But no, he's right.
Exactly.
They ran a sale. They ran a sale in several countries. Discounted rate. Yeah.
That is so bad, eh? That is awful.
Yeah.
So, Tom, our next topic will need you to, I don't know, clear your throat, bust out some tunes.
All right,
because we're ready to talk about Robin Hood again. I know you've got some sick rhymes ready to go. Probably not. So what's this about? Right. Well, we've spoken about this chap a few times here on the podcast. I've done a few videos on it. Probably like 3 videos now, I think. Here and there. But hey, Director X called me out over on Twitter for his absolute garbage show, Robin Hood. He called out a whole bunch of people. And I thought we would talk about it.
He went after you Brits especially. He was not happy with y'all.
well, he did, but also massive error of judgment in doing that, because also you're picking on someone that, trying to pick on someone that, well, and people just in general that just call a spade a spade. It's such a moronic thing to do. So basically, I was tagged in this. No, I won't stop. This is a Yellow Flash's video that he tweeted out. It says, "No, I won't stop. This is hip hop over here. We love beef. You all on your shows calling me all kinds of names, but won't talk face to face because I might call you racist. Shake my head. Nerdrotics, Hills versus Babyface, Ryan Kinnell, you too, Yellow Flash, and Mr. H." You're muted, Culture.
Sorry, I was trying to give Tom room to rap. Your response was brilliant. I was like, this dude is targeting the wrong group of dudes. This is not going to go well. These gentlemen you've targeted there, Mr. X guy. Understand. They have more clout than you. Combined, they will destroy you. You're going to have millions of people going, wow, that show sucks. That guy sucks. The director sucks.
Well, there's a few things to consider here. So my reply was, you might call me racist. I'm like, dude, you culturally appropriated a British folklore story and repurposed it to frame all the white people as the villains. You creatively bankrupt douche. And you think, I'm afraid you might call me racist. Bruh. Now, it's important to note, which has been pointed out to me, but you make you make my actual point here anyway about what I'm about to say, is this chap isn't actually small time. So he is a nobody in this sphere, right? He's a nobody in the sphere of making TVs. No one fucking knows who this guy is at all. He is a nobody, an unequivocal nobody. In the music sphere, making videos, 3-minute long videos for artists, he's a relatively large deal, but he's not a big deal in anything else aside from that. And it's important to note is that anyone that follows him clearly doesn't follow him to watch his TV show, because anyone that's reviewed this, there's no positive reviews of it. It's now one of the lowest reviewed, or is the lowest reviewed. It's even beaten Velma, or had as the lowest rated TV show on IMDb. So he can't even amass his 26,000, Twitter followers to follow him there, or his however many thousand Instagram followers that he has. And this is the you make that point actually pretty clear here, is that you say, he doesn't have clout. Technically does in a different industry. Here, he's a fucking nobody. And what he's done is try to call people out by going, you're afraid to have me on your show. You're e-begging for a fucking interview, Director X. You're begging for an interview because you want clout. That's what it is.
I would have let him on.
I absolutely would not, because I don't want to give him a platform to discuss nonsense, because it would be like talking to an NPC. It would be
for sure.
I'd let him expose himself
ever. But it'd be such a waste of time, because it would be like talking to a brick wall.
Yeah.
I'm sad. I'm sad we didn't get a rap, Tom.
Me too. I thought we were getting a rap. I'm
But
sad.
we didn't cover it beforehand because you didn't cover it early.
I was waiting for my moment. It's my time! I'm trying to be good, but I'm robbing in the hood. I'm part of the naughty brood. I take from the rich, but I spend it before I can give the poor anymore. I don't have options. It's either Mickey D's or become a whore. Robbing all day, ain't got no time for play, no. Robbing so much, I don't even know. If it's under $1,000, you don't have to pay. Robbing in the hood and not giving it to the ghetto. It's like my creators didn't even read the book, son. Hell, they could have even watched the Costa movie, or for fuck's sakes, the Disney one. I can't wait for everyone to get a load of me. Robbing in the hood with dignity. Under $1,000, it's free.
So Director X, when we say creatively bankrupt,
So that means he's heard my Robin raps.
well, I think so. But when we talk about creatively bankrupt, Director X, you, sir, are creatively bankrupt because you made the most NPC-styled show you possibly could. Tom here has a certain level of creativity. I mean, this is satire, this is art, this is some singing, there's some skill involved in this. So much so that no one could even think that was about, pretty unexpected, pretty left field unexpected. That's creativity. Director X makes the most blindingly obvious pile of nonsense you've seen in your life. And everyone that goes, hey, mate, you've culturally appropriated this. And it's a bit racist that all the white people are the villains. And it's a bit weird that you've made all these black people, I don't know, thieves, for instance, and gangsters. That's a bit racist. Oh, they're all racist, are they? Really? That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't really make any sense, does it? What a douche. You're still muted, Culture.
I like Culture's shirt.
I have to say, he may be very good at music video direction. I don't know. He's made an awful lot of them. I took the time to look him up in that field. And it doesn't look like he's done much since 2021 as far as music direction, but there are supposedly 110 of these puppies listed. That's a lot. I mean, he's worked with some people that you might know, like Lil Baby and Black Eyed Peas and some others. But again, none of us have ever heard of this guy. And he maybe has good concepts when it comes to music videos. Look,
maybe
for that many, 110 or so. Yeah, pretty good. But maybe television isn't his bag. Maybe long form entertainment isn't his bag. I'm just being.
I don't think it's even long form entertainment, is it? To be honest,
I'm being
partially funded by taxpayers as well. If I've looked into.
Oh, he's in Canada. Everything's partially funded by taxpayers in Canada. Y'all aren't that far away, my friend, but I'm not going to go there. I'll say this. I'm playing devil's advocate, but I'm going to say that, look, maybe he's exemplary in his field. Maybe this was not a venture that he should have pursued. Hard to say.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Hard to say.
Anyway, I thought we would have a fun side note topic there.
That was terrible. That was the least fun moment of the stream right there.
That was brilliant. I love that.
Delivered, man. That was fun.
Those raps are so good. They crack me up.
This one goes out to the director. I don't even remember your name. That's right, I got under your skin. Let me begin to tell you how sad it is that for me, it was just another Tuesday.
That's it.
That's we go.
It was just another Tuesday.
Oh, Tom. Oh, that you gotta blow up, dude. That one has to end up on one of the special shows.
I said this before. We need to get Tom just doing mock raps. That's what we need.
Oh, I have
Just
real
mock
raps, but they're
the mock raps are the way forward.
You got to do one of our specials with us over on the Dix Division shows.
Oh, you should hear some of the shit I come up with over there, man.
Yeah, it's redonkulous. I used the word redonkulous in a sentence.
That's where that midget Christmas song came from.
That's right. That was my favorite thing ever.
Oh, right.
This was fun. Thanks, Nate, for letting Tom rap. That was brilliant.
Oh, honestly, every show, if I could get that every show, it'd be amazing. Just something so funny.
It was just another Tuesday.
So much my face bloody hurts. It's so good. It cracks me up. Right, we got some super chats, guys, to get to. Mr. Tickle Trunks for $2 says my bank is giving away 6 months of Disney Plus with new accounts. I think that's going on in the UK as well.
With your bank?
Yeah, no, that's the same thing in the UK as well. There is something there's something there's a bank in the UK doing the same.
Yeah, if you can't tie that,
is that how Disney's paying off a loan or something?
No, that is a global effort. See the quotes? Global effort to influence.
Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird.
Weird.
Commandant VHS, great new updated avatar, dude. For $2 says Mr. X, hate watching
That's
you
awesome.
all. Yeah, he is hate watching us all. That's the thing. He is.
That is
so
hilarious.
funny.
Look, dude, don't get so trippy about it, man. I'm not watching your stupid show. Neither is anybody else.
Wow. Yeah, no one's watching it, mate.
You made what is ostensibly an in living color fucking skit, man. That's how out of date this shit is. Right?
Yeah,
this is something people have done 20 times over. You're not trying anything new. Guess what? I spent a lot of time writing a story that was an updated version of Alice in Wonderland that was all trippy and shit. Guess what? 20 other fucking people have beat me fucking to it already. It's no big deal, man. Just come up with something new and original.
There you go. I'm
giving him a pep talk.
Oh, don't encourage him. Does this dress make my ass look big? For $5, so somebody should don the nom de plume of Critic Y to respond to Director X. I don't know what the nom de plume of Critic Y.
That's some fancy bougie talk.
Yeah. Donovan Bradford, that rap made my day, Tom.
You're welcome.
Made a lot of people's day. D.
Oh,
for Tom. Sick beat.
You have officially made more money off of these songs than I did my freaking single now.
Well, we need to. Your single is the midget song, right?
No. I had one before that called "I Look Good on You." It was a song where everything I wear looks like shit on me, but baby, I look good on you.
Put it in the private chat, and I'll try.
And then I had Neon Cowboy and a couple other ones I had, but yeah.
Do you have a link to it? Let's put it.
Oh yeah, they're on my Midnight's Edge After Dark.
Yeah, I know. Put a link.
I'll get you the links. I'll get them.
Yeah. All right. Olaf Van S for €6 says, saw the news. People can't record videos in Disney parks anymore. People recording for YouTube, etc., get kicked out. They're scared to show the quality of the park. I think they're actually scared to show the low numbers. But I had seen that. Has anyone else seen this? Tom, I know.
I've been hearing that. Yeah, I've been hearing that their numbers are pretty low and they're getting their ass kicked on the whole, by Universal's the amount of people that are going there. So,
well, that's why I think if they're stopping people filming stuff, I mean, that's the point of going to these parks. Is to
that's probably why. Yeah,
YouTubers share it and stuff as well. I mean, I don't see why. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It seems like an odd thing. You would want to record some of this stuff, wouldn't you? I guess it seems like an odd thing. Like
I
it's free advertising
think-
to them.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I think you were onto something there with the whole like they don't want YouTubers.
They
Showing-
Right.
don't want critical YouTubers. They
like
want the
Drunk 3PO and all those guys over at Park Hoppin', for instance, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they want pixie dusters. That's what they want.
Right. Well, ladies and gents, if you like Tom's rap, because Tom didn't do what I asked and shared the YouTube video, I will put in the chat right now a link to the Apple, so the Apple website, Apple Music, so you can download one of his songs. Because Tom shared the fucking YouTube video, not the actual link for someone to go and buy it. Yeah.
Oh, that. It's in the link.
Yeah. Oh,
right
that. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So, guys, please do click through to that if you like Tom's rap.
There's all kinds of links there. You can get it through like Amazon, iTunes.
I literally just shared it on the iTunes.
The Zimmy Zoom thingy. Yeah. Well, in the YouTube link in the description or whatever is all the links to where you can buy it.
Right. Here you go, guys. Here's the video.
Whatever
go
you
through to the
choose.
description of that and then go and purchase some of his raps. Maybe if that goes well, we can convince Tom to do an Hcast album of very, very funny. Yeah, very funny raps. I would love that. That'd make my day.
We
could do honestly, we could do a Kickstarter of that, Tom. I reckon we could do a Kickstarter.
I think we could, and he's already been featured on a Christmas special. And
honestly, Tom, I think we should do it. I think we should do a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Hcast the album, Tom's raps, or whatever. It's just you rapping and me and Culture laughing.
That would be great.
Honestly, I'm game. I don't care. I'm game. I think it's brilliant.
The only thing I'd really need any kind of money for would be to shoot like videos and maybe put it on record. Because like doing your own CDs is cheap. Like even
that's what I mean. We could do a Kickstarter for that. I think people would. Guys in the chat, would you want us to do a Kickstarter for an Hcast record or whatever it is that Tom's suggesting? Because I think that'd be hilarious.
That'd be great.
Another song, but I don't have
I reckon we should do it.
Yet. Because I've been working on an album for a while. I just haven't got it all together yet. But yeah, but I appreciate it.
Loads of people are keen for it. See, loads of people are keen.
Cool.
Yeah.
There you go. We need to get on it. Anyway, I digress ever so slightly. So, D for $5 says, "I think it is safe to say he is no Spike Jones." No. Double back again. $2 says, "Just another Tuesday."
That's right. Double back again.
Mr. Tickletrunks says, "Stop dissing Robin Hood, the best Canadian comedy of 2023. The black stereotypes are distasteful, but it's so detached from reality. I cried laughing." Oh my God. I still haven't even bothered to watch it. It's so bad.
Dude.
He just doesn't want to piss us off because look, the Robin Hood raps are all in good fun. You do not want me to do like a diss rap on you. Culture would know.
We need it. We need it on the Hcast album.
It was just another Tuesday. Was just like the opening salvo of something like that.
You
Like
don't want-
if I could write a Kevin Smith song right now, I would make him cry all over again.
So good.
Well, he cries in pretty pictures, Tom. I mean, that's
We got Brett Kern. $2 says, "Here's the Tom monetizing other people's channels."
I enjoy helping people
out. Couple weeks late. This is South African Rand, isn't it? Have I got that
It
right?
It is.
For once. Yes, so good. Sent in a super sticker. Thanks so much. Bucky Cat says for Tom's rap. Go and buy his rap. Not the.
Well, you can sample it on YouTube and then you can go buy it if you want to. Yeah, and I got some more I'm working on. So yeah.
Have you linked more stuff? What have you linked?
That's just another one of the more popular songs. I haven't got that one up for sale yet because I found out it's cheaper for me to just put up a whole album than it is to do one song. So I'm trying to get like a whole album together, and I've been kind of waiting on like some guys asked me for the first song I sent you, so I sent them all the stem tracks so they could do remixes, and nobody sent me one back yet. But I don't know if they're still working on them or what.
Well, again, if you like Tom's rap, I've linked it in the. Yeah, I think this is it. Go through to the description box of what I've just put in the chat now, and please do go purchase it. please, that'd be great. We can encourage Tom, hopefully, with the sales of that, and obviously the response here, to do an Hcast the album.
I want it.
I need that. I need
I
that
need
in my life. Honestly, that'd be fucking gold.
Culture Olaf will have
gold.
to gather up all the raps I've done.
Oh my!
Also, honestly, no word of a lie, it must have been the rap because we're demonetized.
Oh
Yes!
no!
We are legitimately demonetized.
Yes,
I've got to go through and bloody request review, and it probably
I
won't
was
get
gonna say
reviewed.
because the music I'm using is like copyright free, so.
Oh no, it's not that. It's
Yeah.
demonetized for inappropriate content. as they
Yeah, this is
always
just
love to
stuff
do,
that's
so.
on my stream box that I just hit, Just, yeah, whatever.
well, I was
Love it.
getting there. Wait, I
No.
thought you were gonna do it again.
No, I have got nothing left. I done tapped out for now.
All right.
Right, well, ladies and gents, we've got to shuffle on now. Obviously, we're having a bit of fun here on the show, but I've got to say thank you so much, everyone, sending in the super chats. It helps the show out quite a lot. Literally, we are funded by you guys, for you guys. So keep the super chats coming in. We've got 258 likes. Please do bump that up. We do have over 400 people watching. So please do hit that thumbs up button if you can. That'd be fantastic. And also, please do check out everyone's channels linked in the description box. But we're going to shuffle on now to something absolutely hilarious. So this dropped out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Just
it was
dropped.
crazy.
Out of nowhere. I saw it, and I was between doing bits and pieces, and I was about to study actually for my master's degree, and I was like, I can't. I've got to talk about this.
This made my day because this confirms so much of the shit that I was reporting.
This morning on the
Doesn't it?
morning show, I'm like, "What is this? Where did this come from?"
Yeah,
The big
literally
news to me is the whole reason why she was still there. I thought it was just because they were
Elon
like, "Fuck
Musk.
it, we're not going to spend the money."
Yeah. So this is an article from Variety, and they're listing down a lot of stuff that was made available by Depp fans paying court fees to release documents, which is all from Heard's therapist. But then there's also stuff from Warner Brothers that is revealed in this as well, and it is a shit show.
Yeah,
And it's amazing. It's amazing that this is put into an article, and it goes to show the turning tide, I guess. But Amber Heard, my God, what an absolute raging douche canoe. So apparently Jason Momoa was like drunk on set, and Amber Heard was complaining that he was dressing like Johnny Depp. Bitch, he dresses bohemian and all like, I don't know, grungy, whatever you want to call it. Anyway,
Yeah, but I can see her
always
being so
done that.
narcissistic that she would think that he was mocking her.
Yeah. And then, so the biggest bombshell here for me is Elon Musk writing to Warner Brothers from his lawyer, threatening them. That's why Amber Heard is still in Aquaman 2. Because Elon Musk was a simp. And I think the important thing, which someone put in my comments, I do wonder, we don't know the timing. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'll pop my little tinfoil hat on, all right? I wonder whether this all happened around the same time he appeared with a black eye.
Actually, we kind of have a little bit of a time frame because this
Wait, is it
letter
around the
came
same
in.
time?
Well, this letter came in because this is what we learned in the article. I don't know if you read it all the way through yet. We learned that his letter actually kept her in the movie to begin with. So yeah, actually I was kind of more or less right because I'm looking at it now. Like the timeline goes, James Wan wanted her out of the movie because we learned this in the court case too, because that was confirmed there. James Wan didn't want to bring her back, period. So they reiterate the whole thing we heard then, which was they had zero chemistry and all that kind of business. But I guess Elon's lawyer shot off a letter stating that they were going to sue or whatever, or what is it, an earth-scorching letter they described it as? That if they didn't bring her back for the sequel, that they were going to go after him. But so...
Well, what I mean by timeline is there was that picture circulating with Elon Musk with a black eye. And I don't know whether it's, I mean, obviously we don't know whether it's around the same time, but I'm putting it out there that maybe
this is definitely when they were together for sure. But yeah.
Oh yeah. So let's give a rundown of this so we can all have a good laugh. And guys, please do just jump in at any points you wanna discuss on this. So on the same day in mid-September that Warner Brothers dropped the trailer for $215 million.
They almost double that, I'd say.
Definitely gonna be more than that. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, embarrassing documents from the Johnny Depp Amber Heard defamation trial surfaced on Reddit, creating a new headache for the studio behind the film. Depp fans paid the court fees for releasing the documents from Heard's therapist, Dr. Dawn Hughes. The raw notes scribbled on a legal pad were part of last year's high-profile trial in which Depp largely prevailed. He did. They describe a hostile Aquaman set where an allegedly intoxicated Jason Momoa dressed like Johnny Depp and pushed to have Heard booted from the role of aquatic superhero Mirror. So apparently, Jason Momoa wanted Amber Heard gone.
Yeah.
Jason said he wanted me fired, the notes say. Jason drunk, late on set, dressing like Johnny, has all the rings too. So anyone in a leather jacket and rings, looking a little bit grungy, like a dude bro, that's okay, cool.
Yeah.
She's got a really big image of herself.
Here's the thing that's funny
Doesn't
about
she?
this, okay? And as you get into this, and this is my perception of this, she says it was a hostile environment. Everybody was hostile towards her, is what really this is about. The rest of everybody else probably was fine with each other. They were just mad because she was there, and you really find out why here in a minute. So keep going.
Yeah, so a rep for Momoa declined to comment, but a DC spokesperson pushed back on Heard's characterization, saying Jason Momoa conducted himself in a professional manner at all times on the set of Aquaman. Others echo that sentiment. Jason works his ass off, likes to have a beer once in a while like everyone, but doesn't show up drunk on set, says an insider who was on the London set in 2021, adding that the two stars got along and were seen joking together. And he isn't dressing like Johnny Depp. He is always dressed in that bohemian style. Yeah, obviously he has. Heard declined to comment, but a source close to the actress confirmed that the notes refer to the Aquaman 2 set and reflect a session from December 27th, 2021. Another source close to the actress says her lawyers fought the release of the therapy notes, which had been subpoenaed by Depp's attorney during discovery. Momoa wasn't the only Aquaman principal to land in the crosshairs. The therapy session also painted a picture of Heard feeling unsupported by the film's director, James Wan, and treated like a pariah. Yeah, treated like a pariah because of a high-profile legal battle with Johnny Depp. He raised his voice at me. I can't even post about Aquaman. Made it like it was my fault. I said, I'm sorry. Says Hughes' notes in reference to one. Nobody could take selfies with me on set given blackout. Narcissist.
Well, and this I believe this wholeheartedly, and this is where I think the where she was sensing a lot of hostile reactions from people, because this is all going on in the midst of her bullshit in the press, and James Wan not being able to talk about this movie on social media is a big problem. And he was right, because he probably if he posted anything about Aquaman, he would probably get bombarded with both sides of the equation. Yeah. Not to mention, you know, it's already bad enough he probably has to deal with Snyder fans.
Oh my God. Yep. One declined to comment. The DC spokesperson says, James is known for treating members of his cast and crew with the utmost respect and for fostering a positive, collaborative environment on set. The Aquaman films were no exception.
But there's more to that, because that goes into the Elon thing here in just a moment. And that was that they weren't going to bring her back in the first place.
Yeah, well, this is exactly. So Heard was nearly fired. Sources on both sides tell Variety. Following Aquaman's release in 2018, straight away, the studio and Wan decided to drop the actress from the sequel due to her lack of chemistry with Momoa, and sent a letter to her attorney, Carl Austin, informing him of its decision. Former DC boss Walter Hamada testified in the defamation trial about the issue of chemistry. Those sources underscore that the move to bounce Heard was unrelated to Depp and took place before he filed suit against the actress in 2019. Likewise, Momoa was not involved in the decision-making, but another source pushed back on the lack of chemistry narrative noting that Heard did a chemistry test with Momoa before landing the role of Mira, and beat out 2 other actresses who did a similar chemistry test, including Abby Lee. Ultimately, the studio never pulled the trigger on firing Heard because her boyfriend, or former boyfriend, Elon Musk, had one of his litigators send a scorched earth letter to Warner Brothers threatening to burn the house down if the actress wasn't brought back for a sequel, says a source familiar with the behind-the-scenes battle. Warner Brothers
And that's
caved.
a good way to get on everybody's good side.
Yeah. Yeah, well, exactly, yeah. Like, they want to fire her. Her boyfriend forces them to keep her, and everyone's like, fucking, we've got this bitch around. Jeez.
So they agree to keep her, and then in the process of all this, then happens the drama with Johnny Depp.
Yeah. And they're like, well, cheers.
Well, they're like, great, we're stuck with your ass now. And that's why she was being treated that way. I can totally see it. It makes complete fucking sense. It's like, first of all, we were forced to have you here. It's like the little sister, right? Who wants to play with her older brother and his friends. And you say, no, we're doing our own thing. And she goes to mom and squeals, and mom forces you to have to play. And yet when she's there, she does nothing but fuck up the whole game. Like if you're playing football or something, you know what I mean? Like that's what Amber Heard is right now in this equation. Only it's worse because she's fucking with people's money and their well-being in this entire production.
Yeah, oh, it's so funny. So that's about it, really. There's not much else to go into. I mean, they comment how it's going to be a bomb, basically, and it's trouble.
Well, they do add in there a lot of stuff that I've been reporting, and that is that none of the stars are coming back. That's in the next couple paragraphs down. Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, Ezra Miller, and Momoa, but Momoa will probably come back as Lobo. So this is a more official thing. See, this is the thing that I love about this, because this isn't Variety. Now, this isn't necessarily a confirmation, but this makes a lot of the stuff that I was reporting, you know, other people are hearing the same stuff, right? And it's more of a confirmation that, or it's more supported evidence, let's say, than not a confirmation. But yeah.
Well, Tom, I think you had a lot of insight into this early on. I think between you and Tug, I was like, man, I can't believe where they're getting all their stuff.
Tug had a lot of stuff from people who knew about the Amber Heard situation.
Yeah, but he was also getting stuff right on the movie side of things, just like you. And here we are to find out this is the worst movie they've ever tested.
Well, and I'm curious what happened when she heard, or they heard, they were looking at bringing in What's-Her-Face from Game of Thrones.
Well, that's probably when all shit hit the fan.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of her name. But you know who I'm talking about.
Emilia Clarke.
Because they even asked her about it, and she said she had declined it. See, that almost confirms that they had been looking and talking, right? And that's what I had heard. Yeah, because that's what I had been hearing, was that they were going to cut her out of the movie and they were going to reshoot all her stuff because she was hardly in the movie anyway. Yeah. And then that would be their way of introducing a new version of it. But that was when it was still between Hamada and, you know, the regime change. And then when they decided, Gunn decided he was coming back, I think that was the point they just decided, fuck it, we're not going to spend any extra money on this or The Flash, for that matter, because that was the other thing they were worried about, was Ezra Miller's bullshit on The Flash. But yeah.
Yeah. And they do say, like, her role's been drastically cut down. I can't remember where it was in this.
Well, what's the other thing they do confirm from my reporting is that, there it is right there. Still, Aquaman sequel held promise, considering that the character's first outing earned a $1.5 billion worldwide, becoming the highest grossing DC movie ever with inflation. Without inflation, I should say. It's not. But sources say that sources say the sequel has endured challenges outside the Heard saga and was testing in the 60s before the recut of summer of 22. Now, Culture, you've heard me say this more than anybody. What was it whenever I'd ask about what's going on with Amber Heard and Aquaman? What would they tell me?
They told you she's still in the film.
But what else did they tell me? She's not the problem.
Oh, yeah. It was Elon.
No, the movie was the problem.
Oh no! But you also would say that Elon was a problem on the movie.
I do remember. I kind of vaguely remember somebody saying something about Elon, but I didn't know about that for sure until this, and I didn't realize that's what he had done. But that's what I was saying, is they were saying it tested poorly. In fact, that almost confirms what I had been hearing, and that was that it tested the worst of any test they'd ever done in the history of DC, and maybe even Warner Brothers, for that matter. And it's been in the 60s is horrible.
And it's been confirmed. That's the other thing. It's been confirmed.
And then the reshoots didn't help.
And there was all those articles coming out saying, "I know we weren't reshooting it." No. And this confirms it. Reshoots took place right up until May.
Yep, we knew this. We reported on it.
We were talking about this, and they're all saying we're not doing reshoots. I'm like, what?
This is because they knew they had a leaky faucet. And that's where, like at this point, like a good 80% of the stuff that I had been reporting over the past year and a half, 2 years, has been true.
Yeah.
The only thing that so far that has kind of been weird about this whole thing is James Gunn not doing a complete and utter reboot from bottom up. Him keeping the Peacemaker, Suicide Squad cast really muddies the waters. But other than that, we can see it already from a mile away. This is going to be speaking of Scorched Earth, this is going to be was supposed to be a Scorched Earth reboot from the start. So we'll have to see what's going to happen here. Because that's what I keep hearing now is that nobody knows nothing but James, and a lot of even the upper people are really confused at what he's doing here. But this article also gets into some of the stuff that we've been hearing, and that's Culture might remember this too, and I don't remember if I brought it up on here, but where I really believed a lot of this was them getting the company ready to be sold. They want to sell Warner Brothers within the next 2 years. And in the article, they kind of state the same things I was saying in the hearing, and that was that it doesn't matter if these movies happen or not. They just want them in the pipeline or things in order so that then when they sell, that it's worth the most, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that's kind of what it is. It's just like with the George Lucas situation when, because the money people at Disney came back and said Lucasfilm is worth roughly like $2.5 billion or whatever. And George huffed at that and said, no, I want the Pixar deal. And they went back and fudged the numbers a little bit so he could get the Pixar deal. But Bob, and this is in Bob's book, Bob came back to him and said, you have to get a couple movies into production or at least pre-production or whatever and some of this stuff done so that we can up the value of the company. And that's exactly what George did. He wrote his treatments for the sequels. He signed on everybody, set up Kathleen Kennedy as the president, and all those moves in the eyes of the shareholders or whatever at Disney, the people that had to make that decision made it look like that Lucasfilm was worth $4.05 billion instead of $2.5 at the end of the day. Because at that point, Lucasfilm had nothing, and I mean nothing in production outside of the cartoon. And that had just been canceled, like whatever it was, like a couple of years before that. So they really had absolutely nothing into production outside of the gaming industry side of things. And that was limping along. And I think they canceled all that as soon as Disney bought it anyway, right? Culture? Like the Lucasfilm gaming got shut down, I think it was.
They shut down a lot. LucasArts, they shut down. They shut down like a music interest that they had. They had all these other things going on, and
right. Well,
but anyway, same thing here. They want to make everything look like it's worth more, so then whoever buys it thinks they're buying, a decent car.
And they're not. They're buying a. I was going to say Datsun, but I like.
Well, they think they're getting all the bells and whistles, but the bells don't all work. That's the problem.
And the electrical's a bit damp. It doesn't work so often.
Let's shuffle on real quick. Donovan Bradford for $5 says, is it any wonder they're getting rid of this DC because it's nuts and not worth it? I mean, the monetary value, unfortunately. But we're not going to go into that too much. Offend loads of people. Peter Hewitt for $2 says, surprised Moa didn't try to tap that.
He probably did.
It doesn't look that good. Like, I don't know. Yeah,
that's probably why she's trying to make him look bad. Did he show up drunk on the set? Maybe.
Probably.
Yeah, I can believe that.
He's a dude bro. But there's a difference between a dude bro showing up a little buzzed on some beers than somebody showing up like fucking actually thrashing drunk off of some kind of booze. Right? I highly doubt Momoa is that unprofessional that he's going to show up completely fucking smashed.
Yeah.
And if he does show up smashed, guess what? They're just going to shut down production for the fucking day.
Yeah. It's not really a big deal for any of that, is it? Right, well, ladies and gents,
sorry, I didn't mean to get so whatever on that.
That's right.
The whole thing, I understand that it's one of those touchy subjects when it comes to Amber Heard.
Yeah. Shuffle on now to a very funny topic, equally as bizarre.
This again? I thought we already got past this shit.
No, we have, but there's new inside information. So apparently DC Comics really wanted Black Batman to permanently replace Bruce Wayne. So this is an exclusive to Bounding Into Comics, because there's an insider that spoke with them about all of this, and I thought we'd just run it down because it is funny, and how true this is, who knows? I don't know much about this specifically, but we're going to talk about it as if there's an air of legitimacy behind it, because some of the moves that are stated in this are very clear to see, and I would believe that there's some legitimacy behind it, some credence to them. So in early 2021, Disney Comics replaced their iconic characters with diversity counterparts in their future state line, which spun out of their 5G imitative plan. This was not originally meant to be a glimpse into an alternate future as a quick mini event, instead planned to be a complete reboot of the DC universe, much like had already been done a few times under the stewardship of co-publisher Dan DiDio. So, yeah. The most shocking proposal, according to an industry insider present at the 5G Initiative Summit, was to turn the character Lucius Fox into Batman and have the ongoing Batman title feature the Black lead instead of Bruce Wayne. A contingent at DC Comics apparently thought race swapping the beloved character after the wake of Black Lives Matter would add additional diversity to the book lines. It's just a cash grab, basically. So the insider who spoke Bounding Into Comics under the condition of anonymity said DiDio looked visibly stressed at the meeting. Our source stated that DiDio had been excited about new initiatives in the past, but the 5G situation felt much different, like it was being forced on him.
Didio's a piece of shit. That's basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Didio.
I thought it was Didio, but yeah, whatever. Who gives a shit?
I've always said Didio. I think I did it at a comic event going back a while ago. So if so, he didn't correct me. But yeah.
Didio's supposed fears were justified. He left or was fired from DC Comics in early 2020, right as the pandemic was hitting, and the comic industry suffered a catastrophic collapse from the closure of stores nationwide, and also just because they're producing shit. That's why it fell apart, but never mind. The proposal to replace Bruce Wayne as Batman with a black character was met with grumbles from the retail sector of the meeting. Allegedly, one of the retailers present told Didio point blank that he should be prepared for Batman sales to drop to a third of the book's then current levels. The reality of the situation is when readers read Batman as a title, they expect to see Bruce Wayne, and DC Comics followed up on the plan anyway with their future state, the next Batman book. The Bruce Wayne replacement, Tim Fox, was met with poor reviews from both fans and critics, and the book did not last very long before DC Comics changed directions again, as always. So both Marvel and DC seem obsessed with trying to replace their iconic characters with new diverse skin suits. This is true. Marvel has done everything it can to promote Miles Morales as Spider-Man. This is true. Ever since Brian Michael Bendis created the character as a follow-up of a joke by Donald Glover stating he wanted to play Spider-Man in a movie. However, the Miles Morales iteration of the character still doesn't sell anywhere near the numbers Amazing Spider-Man does monthly. So whether the forced diversity comes from corporate management or from newer generations of writers who are obsessed with destroying iconic characters, every time it's tried, it fails spectacularly. There's a danger to retailers beyond simply losing sales on one book as well. When people go to a comic shop to buy a Batman book, they don't often keep coming back and returning to try out different books just because they stopped buying Batman. Comic readers are devoted to the characters they follow, and more often than not, they'll stop coming to the shops altogether if there's a reason to quit. So the attrition of readers has been plaguing the industry for a long time and is a herald of great problems ahead for the future state of comics. Thoughts, guys?
I'm not surprised at all by this in the least, but it's just more fuel to the fire to the death of comic books. I mean,
I have nothing to add to this that's new. This is confirmation of everything that we've reported, said, heard over the course of the last 6 years. So, I mean, the direction that all of this was being done willfully for no reasons that aided sales. So it is what it is.
Well, why did you say he was a piece of shit? Well, I don't know.
I'm not a fan. So he's done some decision making that's not great. The fact that what's interesting is I guess he got fired for doing an interview with John De La Rose, which is a related article. I thought that was interesting. I didn't know that. I don't know. He wasn't very personable in my couple of engagements with him. So I took away a negative interpersonal reaction situation from that. So that's just.
Well, I look at it this way: it's the false virtue signaling is getting old, right? It's almost become old hats to the point where even some of the woke folks have got to be going like, "Come on!" At this point, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I mean, Velma, I think, was kind of proof of that to a point where we're getting to that point where some of this stuff is even too woke for woke folk. Because if you're just doing it for no other reason than just to say, "Oh, we've got a black Batman," or "We've got a black Spider-Man," or "We've got a Asian Wonder Woman," or "We've got a this or that," it's like, why? Create a new friggin' character.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that. It's no, and then you got the other side of it too. Like, and I know this is Marvel, not DC. Hey, we got Clobby in the chat. He may have a thing or two to say about that. But hey, how you doing, Clobbering Times? And we even got adult dating chat. Somebody saved the link for me. I haven't seen one of those in a while. Wow.
I haven't either. No, they popped back up.
It kind of took me by surprise there. But anyway, as I was saying, I mean, like at this point, like, why? Why are you doing it? Just create a new character. You even got characters like I was saying over in Marvel, where you had Falcon, who has been his own established character for how many years?
Forever. I mean,
they decided all of a sudden we're going to make him Captain America instead.
That's so messed up.
Why?
No reason.
He was already a cool character all on his own.
Yeah,
it's dumb.
I loved it. Some of my favorite books. I still have that Power Records album, Captain America versus the Falcon. Oh no, Captain America and Falcon together fighting. It wasn't. Oh gosh, who was it? Vulture, I believe. So, but I've got all. I mean, it's funny. I mean, original books are still valuable. And anybody who doesn't know that there was black characters in comics are just retarded. They just haven't been paying attention. Uninformed, whatever word you want to use. It is what it is. And again, perhaps Didio was having a bad day when I met him, and I took away such a negative impression that I've never been able to think he was any good. Clobby says he was a hack, so I take Clobby's word for it. Yeah, the Phoenix. That's right. It was the Phoenix. Thank you, Clobby. It wasn't Vulture. See, Clobby.
That's what I said. He would have a thing or two because he's my comic go-to guy on Mead. So, but yeah, no. At this point, I think it's silly to change these heroes. I don't mind passing of the torch. I don't personally like it, but I see that the fans don't mind it so much. That's fine. But at the end of the day, why? They're just like cartoon characters. They don't need to age. They don't need to change. You can keep them as they are. Create a new character that is black or Asian or what have you, or a new woman character, whatever that you want. Why do this? Because we know why. And that's the problem, is they admit it in that the characters they're going to try to create aren't as popular. Well, that's on you, right? That's on you to make them popular, right?
Yeah.
I highly doubt Blade is as popular as he is because of the color of his skin. They don't take those things into consideration.
No, you're completely right. I think the other thing about it is that your target demographic, like comic industry's dead anyway, has been dying for a significant amount of time, and then you go and put another knife in its back by doing dumb stuff like this. The comic reader is a consumer, and a consumer, generally speaking, has money. They work for their money. They want to purchase stuff. The people that you're trying to appease to by doing this nonsense swap-a-rooney, they don't have money. They don't even read these comics. They're not interested. And every time they do this, the numbers go down. People don't want to buy it. People don't want to invest in it. And it's baffling to me. You'd think at one point you'd realize and go, shit, we've got to stop this. Like, why are we doing this? This isn't good. Especially with the numbers that these comic book companies put out, because they're terrible at the moment. They're atrocious. One Piece numbers have just skyrocketed massively because of the success of the Netflix adaptation.
You want to know why that is? I think mostly because without people knowing this on the surface level. I mean, we notice it, but I don't think the general audience has noticed it, just because they know they're seeing something that's good and feels like they used to see, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. One Piece comes from an era and it hasn't been fucked with enough to where it feels like the stuff we used to get back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Because it comes from the 90s. And they didn't allow, Oda did not allow Netflix to do to it what they did to Cowboy Bebop. And didn't even some culture, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't even some people from behind that admit that they know they made some mistakes with Cowboy Bebop, if I'm not mistaken?
Oh, yes, of course.
Maybe it was you, Mr. H. You said one of you guys had brought it up.
No,
before.
I know Mr. H, I think, did a video about it, but that's something they talked about. That's something they've expressed. So, and yet they went on to do a great job with One Piece, and there you are. So,
they've come out specifically.
You can learn from your mistakes for sure. So,
sorry.
It does rarely happen in Hollywood sometimes.
Well, that was such a monumental failure of epic proportions.
Well, they still always learn the wrong lessons, right? That's what we generally talk about anyway.
Yeah, this is true. This is absolutely true. Well, there you have it.
Well, enjoy it if you buy it, I guess. You're going to be one of the 5 people that do. Countdown to when it's canceled or changed back to what it was, because that's generally what it seems to happen with a lot of these comics. That's why I quit following comics anymore. They're so convoluted anyway. Beyond that, it's like, fuck it, who cares?
Yeah. Well, from the horror story of those comics to another horror story.
It's Frankenstein.
I thought that was a great segue. How did you chuckle there, Culture? You didn't like that segue?
I smiled.
Brilliant.
Wait a minute now. Wait, I like Frankenstein. What's going on?
Frankenstein.
No, this is good news.
Guillermo del Toro.
We got good news.
Here, where's my fucking wallet? Take my money now.
It's good, right? So
if he doesn't take it now, I don't think he'll make it.
He's been working on a Frankenstein movie for a while. There was rumors about casting it a little while back. And now he's confirmed it.
Oh,
we've got Andrew Garfield, Oscar Isaac, Mia Goth, and Christoph Waltz in the cast. This is fantastic news. So Mia Goth, for those that don't know, is this one, the new Scream Queen, the horror empress now, in casting everything horror, basically. She's really good. She's very, very good. So a bit of a background. Earlier this year, it's reported that Del Toro had finally begun working on his long gestating adaptation of Frankenstein for Netflix. Now, I know that's a red flag for a lot of people, but it's Del Toro, and he's had good stuff for Netflix. So I think he's got the sway where he can say, no, we're doing it like this. Had already started putting together an all-star cast. The streamer declined to comment at the time, but the fan favorite filmmaker has now confirmed that the project is indeed moving forward with Oscar Isaac, Andrew Garfield, Mia Goth, and Christoph Waltz. Such a good
Who's
cast.
playing who now?
Well, we don't know, so let's just get to a statement and then we'll sort of fan cast, shall we? So I'm doing Frankenstein, he says. We're working on it. We start shooting in February, so very soon. This could be out by next Christmas.
Oscar Isaac, though?
And it's a movie I've been wanting to do for 50 years since I saw the first Frankenstein. I had an epiphany. And it's basically a movie that required a lot of growth and a lot of tools that I couldn't have done 10 years ago. Now I'm brave or crazy enough or something, and we're going to tackle it. It's Oscar Isaac, Andrew Garfield, Christoph Waltz, Mia Goth, and we're working on it. Thoughts on the cast? Who's doing what?
Well, I think Christopher Waltz, is it? I think he looks very much like Frankenstein.
It's Frankenstein.
No, I'm not doing that. Anyway, I think that's a pretty decent casting, and of course, that's probably not who he's cast as. But I don't know. I mean, anything Guillermo del Toro does is always going to be interesting. his weird take on Pinocchio. He's done some very intriguing things for somebody like me who likes horror. Why do I feel like I'm in a laboratory?
I was working in the lab. No. Mr. H, who do you think's gonna be? I'm gonna save mine for last because I got maybe a. Oh.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with the sort of obvious one. I think Christoph Waltz will be Dr. Frankenstein. I think Oscar Isaacs will be Frankenstein's monster, and I think Andrew Garfield will be Frankenstein's assistant, and Mia Goth would of course be the love interest.
I think you're all
That's,
wrong.
that's who I think. I don't. That's not what I want to happen, but that's who I think is going to be cast in.
The only guy with the eyebrow ridge to pull that off is Waltz.
I think the monster is going to be played by somebody we don't even know yet because it'll probably be like a wrestler.
No.
Maybe.
No.
You might be right. That or it's going to be Andrew Garfield. One of the two. Because Oscar Isaac is playing Igor. I can't believe neither one of you fucking saw that. With those eyeballs, he's definitely playing Igor. Yes! Oscar, and he's short. He's fucking short as hell. I just looked it up because I'm trying to say who's the tallest of them all. Because Christoph Waltz, he's 5'9". Oscar Isaac's a measly little fucking 5'7".
Oh, okay.
Or vice versa, either way. But either way, they're both short as hell, so neither one of them are going to be the monster. Andrew Garfield possibly could be the monster.
How tall is he?
He's pretty tall, I think.
He's not that tall. We can't.
But compared to like the other Spider-Men, he was like the tallest.
Yes, but Tobey Maguire's like 3'4".
He's 5'10", so he's taller than all of them anyway.
He's 5'10". He's not exactly tall.
If not,
he's not
he's playing. If not, he's playing some other character in the movie. I don't know if we know who the monster is going to be yet. I don't think it's going to be any one of them because none of them are big enough to play the monster unless he's going a completely different route with this, which makes no sense. Because the whole point is that the monster's deformed, and that's why he's like large and bulky.
I think Frankenstein's monster is Mia Goth.
Well, she's going to be the bride. Duh,
no,
she better be.
She'll be the bride.
No. And I think that the love interest is going to be Oscar Isaac and Andrew.
He says Andrew Garfield is thin as a pencil. That's why you put a bunch of makeup and shit on him. Then he becomes more normal sized. See, you do all this stuff, but I could be wrong. I don't know if he's going to play. I think he'll play another person in the because isn't there?
He's going to play a tackle.
There's another character. There's another doctor character. I'm trying to remember his name.
Mary Shelley's.
Yeah, because it's the guy that played Van Helsing played in the movie Frankenstein. I can't remember the doctor's name though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like the one. He was the other guy, the one that they sent first or whatever to go check on Frankenstein. I think,
I'm telling you, they are going to subvert your expectations.
No, it's Guillermo del Toro. He's going to either do something exactly like the book, or it's going to be.
Man,
it's going to have nothing to do with that, dude. No. I hear what you're saying.
Del Toro doesn't do that.
It'll be great. Mia Goth is Frankenstein's monster.
Oh, I agree. Bautista would probably be good as the monster.
You've got.
You're gonna have a hard time beating De Niro though,
come on, guys, give me room to run here. So you got Isaac and who's the other kid in this?
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield. Yeah, those are the love interests. One of them is Dr. Frankenstein. And then this Christopher Waltz guy is like, going to be hunting them down for their mistake.
If not, he's the monster.
I still think it's going to be Waltz as the monster.
Because of the age, maybe.
Yes. Yeah, and because of the eyebrow ridge. Dude's rocking the major ridge.
You got a point. He would be a very much like, I could see what you're saying. It'd be kind of an homage to the Hammer Frankenstein with Christopher Lee.
I mean, you could literally, you could serve drinks on that guy's eyebrow.
That I could see Guillermo del Toro growing up with. Yeah. See, that I could see him doing more of a Hammer horror kind of.
But he said, yeah, I don't know. I think it is the book though.
No. I mean, just for like the look, right? Because unless it's Universal, you can't do that classic look. It has to be different, right? Because the Universal owns the original Frankenstein design as far as the flat head, green skin, bolts in the neck, that whole business. So you can't have any of that shit.
just as an FYI, so I just gone back to read the article. It says when I saw the first Frankenstein. So he's talking about the
The
1910
original.
film.
Oh, or is he
Yeah,
talking about? Yeah, or
he's
you
talking
mean
about the original Frankenstein, the
you're
1910 film.
that's Thomas Edison's Frankenstein.
Yep.
I wonder if you know what? But I can't believe he didn't cast like Benicio del Toro as the fucking. Because if you've seen that original one,
that's what the article. That's what he very specifically says. When I saw the first Frankenstein, it's quite a literal person.
did he say the
I think he's going to be
1910
referring to that.
specifically, or does he mean the one
No,
from the
he said,
Universal?
well, he said the first Frankenstein. So
Most
I'm going to
people
assume
consider the one with Boris Karloff the first, though. Even though they don't know, because
dunno.
Edison's was actually a short film, but
maybe, I don't know.
if that's the
I
case,
don't
then
know.
it's definitely going to be more. I don't know if he can really do much with that. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm curious.
Well,
I'm
it's
very
based on
curious.
Mary Shelley's book, isn't it? So
Yeah,
we just
yeah.
expect- I mean, the point is though, great director to do it, great cast. No matter who they're playing, great cast. I think
So
personally.
far, I mean, other than Oscar Isaac, unless he's playing Igor.
Oscar Isaac is an overrated guy.
That's why, yeah, I'm sick of seeing him in everything.
But still, who's excited for this? Because I am.
I am.
I want to add some positivity to people's favorite podcast here.
Ooh, that's a good question. Mighty Orbots wants to know who's writing the script.
Oh, I presume it's him.
Is it all him?
Guillermo?
Yeah, I mean, he writes his scripts, generally speaking, doesn't he?
Now that I mentioned Ghost in the Photo wants Benicio del Toro, right? Wouldn't he be perfect for the monster?
As long as he doesn't talk.
No, he doesn't. Just the way he talks anymore. Fuck, he's perfect for it.
Okay.
Yeah. So as a writer, I mean, so he is writing it actually, screenplay and story. He's doing Frankenstein.
Well, then there you
It's all
go.
him.
But he writes most of his stuff.
Yeah, he does.
So
But
I'm looking at it. He's basically written everything.
You
He has written everything.
be a monster. You can't see that.
So I think this will be really good. I'm very, 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 very excited for this. Actually, excited. Culture.
Yeah. Anything.
He just wants to
Guillermo,
go watch The Bride because he's a wuss.
anything that's Guillermo del
And
Toro.
Sting's in it.
Are you excited for this stuff?
I am. I'm just giving him
Good.
culture shit. I love
Good.
Frankenstein. In fact, I have this kind of like fetish with the classic monsters, all the monsters. Like if there's a Dracula or Frankenstein movie, I buy it. Don't care how bad it is. I gotta have it in my collection. And the thing with Frankenstein is most of the adaptations of Frankenstein are pretty darn good as long as they've, they're that story, the original story. Like the sequels I can't speak so much about as far as other franchises, but I'm hard pressed to try and think of what the worst Frankenstein adaptation is, because none of them are really that bad that I've seen so far. So
No, I mean they all did reasonably well,
yeah.
to be honest.
It's a pretty simple story, and you have to do a lot to fuck it up.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
Dracula is a little bit more varied because depending on where you're sourcing the story from. But no, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein's always been pretty cut and dry. Yeah, you can do a few new elements here and there with things, but at the end of the day, it's always pretty much the same story. So
Yeah, makes sense. Right, we
pretty
got
easy.
super chat here from Graham Cast for $4.99. Says Waltz, Monster Hunter, Oscar, Igor, Garfield, Dr. Frankenstein, Goth, Bride of Frankenstein, Monster, Doug Jones, because why not?
Was there a Monster Hunter character though?
I
know there was an older doctor, like I said, but
he's probably talking about Van Helsing type character.
That's what I mean. Well, because he has to piece everything together after Frankenstein takes off after the monster.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it can go many ways with this. But there you go, ladies and gents. Some good news.
I've read the book too.
Yeah, some good news for a change here on your favorite podcast. That about wraps us up, actually, ladies and gentlemen. So, Culture Casino, what have you got going on? Spit some
Oh, yeah. You can check me out. I'm dropping videos left and right. Check out my Twitter. Check out my Rumble. Check out my Odyssey. Check it all out. I've got 6-minute daily weekdays. We've got maybe some weekend stuff coming up, and I hang out with Tom later today.
All right. Super quick.
Does that mean you're actually showing up to Mead? Wow.
Wow.
Well, I have Mead
Tom,
in about 45 minutes. Yeah.
Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. From me, all the normal shenanigans that are happening on the daily. We'll be bringing some more explained videos. It takes me a little while to recover from the weekends. When I'm in London every other weekend. I was just in London doing my masters, so now I'm back. Mondays and Tuesdays are basically a write-off for me. I wake up very late because I sleep very little during those weekends. So I wake up pretty late on Monday and Tuesday, and then I'm just doing all this kind of stuff nonstop. So explain videos will come back, loads of other stuff will come back. But yeah, pretty busy as usual. But thank you so much for watching, ladies and gents. Your favorite podcast returns on Thursday, so stay tuned for that. We will be back. All the usual fucking adult dating's back in the chat. Jesus. They have not been around for a very long time. They've suddenly popped back up.
Something in the recent changes at YouTube have allowed the bots to return.
Yeah, because there's also the have you just I'm not doing any giveaways, by the way, ladies and gents. Loads of people have asked me about giveaways.
Oh, on Telegram. Yeah.
They fucking come back.
Yeah.
God. Anyway,
Neither
never mind.
do
Guys,
most YouTubers. That's if you said something that you won, you could automatically assume it's a scam. If I'm giving something away, it's going to be live on a stream.
Yep.
Exactly. I have done giveaways before, but it's been announced in a video. I will only ever do it like that. Ever. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll be back on Thursday. Take care. Bye-bye now.